The Avengers vs. the Peter Factor by midnightwolf2192. Chapter 10, Bruce/Hulk, Part 2. Tony didn't return to the compound for a few weeks, not to be unexpected given the rogue's return to the tower. But in that time, the Asgardians had started to make the compound their home. Bruce had been given a lab to allow him to work on medicines and whatnot for the Asgardians. Due to their biological makeup, normal human medicines didn't have the same effects. Friday, could you please make note of this combination? I think it might help with the floss the children seem to be developing. All this flu season? Bruce said absent-mindedly. Of course, Dr. Banner, Friday replied. Bruce was about to say something more when a door opened to his lab and a teenager walked in. Don't mind me, I was just hoping to borrow some chlorobenzene. I don't know how to pronounce that, sorry, the teenager said without looking up from his Starkpad. When he finally did look up, his jaw dropped. Oh my god, you're Bruce Banner! Yeah, Bruce said. He didn't mean to sound exasperated, but any time he was recognised, it was because of the Hulk. Spending 2 years as the Hulk on Cigar, Bruce wanted to be himself again. But what the kids said next stunned him. I've read all your papers! Your paper on the impact of gamma radiation on DNA strands, like, oh my god, I've read that one almost 100 times! The kid said excitedly. I've written multiple papers on you. There's a picture of you in both my physics and my chemistry classrooms. Wow. Thanks, Bruce said. He had no idea what to say. He knew those in the scientific community had read his work, but he'd never heard of a teenager doing it. Who are you? Dr. Banner wants to know who I am, the kid said, almost in awe. Ned is going to flip. Oh, I'm Peter. Well, Peter, it's nice to meet you, Bruce said. He approached the teen and shook his hand. The kid shook his hand firmly and excitedly. When Bruce dropped his hand, the kid continued to stare at his hand in awe. So, what are you working on? Chlorobenzene is quite a strong solvent. Dr. Stark and I were working on dissolving solutions for Spider-Man's webs. We're trying to manufacture a more efficient solvent that can be used on all of the web combinations, Peter said. He was looking over at what Bruce was working on. What are you working on, Dr. Banner? Some medication specifically for the Asgardians, Dr. Banner explained. The teenager placed his Starkpad down and looked intently at Bruce as he spoke. Their DNA makeup is so different from humans that it makes medicating them difficult. When Asgardian was destroyed, many healers died, so there isn't much medical knowledge available to us. Have you considered incorporating potassium iodide? That might help with some of the healing aspects of the other compounds, Peter commented. I actually hadn't. Want to help? Bruce asked, and the kid's eyes lit up. Peter nodded excitedly and joined Bruce at the work table. For the next 3 hours, Bruce and Peter worked diligently on developing medications for the Asgardians. They'd only realised just how long they had been working when they heard a throat behind them clearing. Looking up, Tony was standing in the doorway, smirking at the two of them. So this is where you got off to under Bruce. Thought you'd fallen down a hole or something, Tony teased, and the kid blushed. Mr. Stark, it's Dr. Banner! He asked me to work with him. I wasn't going to say no. I'd be absolutely mad to refuse, Peter said while waving a pen at Tony. Sure, Underoos. I can see how it is, Tony said, and Peter rolled his eyes at Tony's theatrics. Bruce smiled fondly at his friend. Well, Tony had always been jovial. With Peter it wasn't forced. He was actually happy and excited in the boy's presence. Come on, Underoos. Time to feed that black hole you call a stomach. Can Dr. Banner come with us? Peter asked softly, looking between the two men. Tony looked over at Bruce and nodded. I'd love to join you guys, Bruce said, and Peter smiled widely. Besides, I need your opinion on one of these formulas. Peter led Bruce and Tony out of the lab, while Tony trailed behind the excited teen. He pulled up the Peter Factor board on his Starkpad. Another Avenger had fallen. Peter Factor 10, Avengers 0. Bonus. Hulk. While Bruce had spent an increasing amount of time as Hulk, he had come to respect his other half. He had learned that Hulk just wanted time to enjoy the world around him, by himself without being forced out due to anger. The two entities still argued, but Bruce was somewhat afraid of the other guy, but they were slowly coming to an agreement. Part of the agreement was that once a week, Hulk would be allowed out. During that time, he would generally spend time with Val, and the two would fight on the grounds of the compound. All right there, big guy? Val asked as she and Hulk sat on the grass. They had just finished sparring and Val was taking a swig of vodka. Hulk want more friends, Hulk said, and Val raised an eyebrow. Hi, Hulk like angry girl, but Hulk want more friends. What about that tiny human Bruce was talking about? Val asked. Have you asked him to be your friend? No, Hulk said, almost pouting. He'd be scared. Well, you don't know until you ask, Val said before raising her voice loud enough to be heard by Friday. Computer, can you ask Bruce's teenager to come down here? After a few minutes, Val and Hulk turned as footsteps were heard. Peter was making his way towards them, and Val smiled. Just be nice, and remember, he's a tiny, frail human, Val said. She patted Hulk on the hand and stood. She nodded at the kid as he approached before walking away. Hey there, big guy, Peter said. Hulk looked over at him and tried to appear smaller. Hello, Hulk said, smiling when Peter smiled. Did you need something? Peter asked as he moved closer. Want new friends? Hulk said almost sadly. Peter moved to sit beside him and rested a tiny hand on Hulk's larger one. You be friends? I'd love to be your friend, Bud, Peter said, and Hulk smiled widely. He raised a hand and patted Peter on the head. You small. Don't want to hurt, Hulk said. Peter smirked and stood. Hulk was initially afraid he had done something wrong, but was surprised when Peter crouched before leaping like a cat onto his back. Don't worry about that, Peter said. Hulk turned his head to look at the boy. Have you heard of Spider-Man? Tiny Avenger. Tin Man talks about him, Hulk said. He raised an arm and let out a bellowing laugh as Peter crawled along the underside of it. Well, that's me. Trust me, we can have a great time without you worrying about hurting me. What shall we play? Peter asked. Catch? Hulk asked, and Peter nodded. Hulk stood and Peter stayed clinging to his arm. Hulk walked over to the nearby woods, Peter still dangling from his arm, and grabbed a large log. Too big? No, just about right, Peter said. Can you throw me? I want to try something. Hulk raised his arm and, not using full strength because Tin Man and Banner would be mad if he broke Tiny Spider, flicked his arm out. Peter went flying with an excited shout, flipped twice in the air before landing gracefully. Hulk let out a loud laugh, and Peter turned to him. Catch time, Peter called, and Hulk nodded. He pulled his hand back and tossed the log. Peter caught it using his webs and flung it back to Hulk. Hulk and Peter played catch for an hour before Hulk felt himself tiring. Peter walked back over to him and sat down beside him, panting heavily. That was so much fun, he said, and Hulk nodded. We definitely need to do this again. Yes, Spider good friend, Hulk said. He lay down on his back and Peter crawled onto the larger man. Hulk rested his head on Peter's back as the teenager cuddled into him. Friday, let's add another check mark to the Peter factor, Tony said fondly as he watched the scene in front of him. Ever since Friday had said Hulk had wanted to meet Peter, Tony had been watching. He trusted Bruce when he said Hulk was changed, but he still needed to know that his kid was safe. Peter factor 11, Avengers 0.